The following is a presentation of NBC Sports.
Hi, I'm Charles Barkley. I'm the host for the NBA All-Star Game right here in beautiful Phoenix. Actually, I used to be Charles Barkley, but I don't have any ticket.
This is a special All-Star edition of NBA Showtime. Here's your host, Bob Costas.
And hey, it wouldn't do any good to call Sir Charles anyway. The phone is off the hook, and there isn't a seat to be had. They opened the doors a while ago at America West Arena, and naturally a standing room only crowd has come pouring through. A while back, Shaquille O'Neal, at just a shade under 30 points a game, the league's leading scorer, arrives. And two of the guys he'll face in the pivot, David Robinson of the Spurs, Hakeem Olajuwon of the Rockets, disembarked from the Western Conference All-Star bus. Charles Barkley didn't take the bus, his hometown. He drove on over for this 45th annual All-Star Game. And welcome to the Desert Southwest and America West Arena, Bob Costas, along with Julius Erving. Now, Doc, you played in 16 of these games between the ABA and the NBA, 15 as a starter, a chance for the players to really let it rip.
Oh, no question. They're going to let it rip today, Bob. I've been able to come to All-Star weekends for 24 years, more than half of my life. And I'm happy to see that the players are here with their families now, and they're enjoying the weekend in more than a competitive way. But you're going to see good competitive basketball, because you're going to see up and down basketball, freestyle basketball, a little more so than you might see during the regular season, where they're trying to concentrate on getting into the playoffs and winning a championship. Here, championship has nothing to do with their play. It's all about letting the stars shine.
All right, then, let's talk with some of those All-Stars, beginning with the guy who arrived in Phoenix 3 years ago trying to win that elusive title, Charles Barkley. He's alongside Jim Gray in the West locker room. Jim.
Thank you very much, Bob. I am here with the star of the All-Stars. However, yesterday, Charles, there was a racial slur.
It wasn't no racial slur.
Where you said you hated white people.
No, I was joking around with a white friend of mine. It's no big deal. It's not going to become a big deal. And then ESPN will get over it.
Let's move on with the game. The All-Star game here in Phoenix. You've been the unofficial host. Will this be your last All-Star game?
Well, I think being realistic, as far as a talent level, yes. But I think, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future as far as playing. But if I ever came back again, it wouldn't be because I was playing great. It'd be because the fans voted me in.
As far as this week has gone, you've basically been kissing babies, shaking hands, having a lot of fun. I hate to ruin your image, and aside from that little blip, have you decided to become a role model?
I tell you what, we are very lucky and fortunate to play in Phoenix. We got the best fans. It's a great environment. The weather has cooperated, and it's been perfect. And hopefully we can win the game now.
Charles, I hope you do.
Thank you, baby.
Let's go over to Ahmad Rashad. I've never been kissed like that before.
Wow. Jim Gray was kissed by Charles Barkley. Anyway, Anthony, last year you played in the junior varsity game, but this year you're playing in the big one. Must be a good feeling.
Oh, definitely. It's a great feeling. Just have to give all the credit to my teammates and coaching staff for giving me the ball and putting me in a position where I can be here.
And Shaq, last year you didn't get the time that you wanted, didn't get the shots that you wanted, so this year you bring in your own point guard and your own coach, so I guess it's on for Shaq.
I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad Penny is given his first opportunity to be here, as well as Coach Brian Hill, and we're just going to go out, have a good time.
Now, these guys were nowhere near that modest before we went on camera, so don't buy any of it. Back to you, Bob.
I'm still trying to get over that bizarre scene between Charles and Jim Gray. Time for a commercial. Maybe we can get our bearings. Plenty more to come on the All-Star pregame. Up next, we'll look back at the All-Star Saturday night festivities, including a couple of former slam dunk champs going head-to-head. NBA Showtime returns right after these messages. And the Eastern Conference All-Stars have just taken the court at America West Arena, partially obscured there. Scottie Pippen, perennial All-Star, MVP of last year's game in Minneapolis. Very likely his last All-Star game as a Chicago Bull all season long. He's been trying to force a trade, including a rumor he may have started himself this week that would have him coming here to Phoenix. It was a trade that revitalized the career of Dana Barros, got him out of Seattle to Philadelphia, and there with three-pointers and playmaking, he's become a first-time All-Star. The Eastern Conference guys going through their layup drills, and the doors have opened to the Western Conference locker room, and here they come onto the floor at America West, the Western Conference Stars. Evidently, they're still in there listening, and this is no joke, to a pep talk being delivered by Rush Limbaugh, a close friend of West Conference coach, the Suns coach. Paul Westphal has been asked to address the Western Conference Stars. We can only guess that most of the early plays will be run to the right. The evening is for the 24 All-Stars, of course. The starters voted by the fans and the reserves chosen by the league coaches. It's the culmination of a full weekend of activities. Last night was for dunkers, long-range shooters, rookies, and a 16-year-old looking to win $1 million. The rookie game started things off, and the Lakers' Eddie Jones stole the show. He led all scorers with 25 for the green team, which trailed by 2 with 3.7 seconds left in regulation, until Jason Kidd's pretty drive sent the game into overtime. But the white team, led by Glenn Robinson, prevailed in the extra session, highlighted by this dish to Lamont Murray for the jam and the win. But in defeat, it was Jones who walked away with the MVP award. At halftime of the rookie game, Foot Locker presented 16-year-old Mike Hoban with a chance of a lifetime. One NBA three-pointer worth $1 million. First, the practice stroke. Looks like he's got good form. But then the real thing, Hoban. For $1 million. Not close. The shot falls way short for the youngster, who was consoled by Dan Marley. And it looks like pre-adulthood retirement is out of the question. Next up, the long-distance shootout, which featured some of the NBA's top three-point specialists. The finals, as it happened, came down to Reggie Miller and Glenn Rice. And it was Rice with the hot hand. At one point, he nailed 5 in a row. Look at the speed with which he releases those suckers. He edged out the Pacers' sharpshooter 17-16 and let everybody know who this year's three-point king is.
Bounce, come on, bounce, one time to the beat, just bounce, come on, bounce, one time to the beat.
Hope you enjoyed the musical interlude. Defending champion Isaiah Ryder returned to the slam dunk final, but was outdone by Harold Miner, who took home his second dunk crown in 3 years. And now, a bit later than we anticipated, the Western Conference All-Stars have hit the floor, and let's take a quick look at them out there warming up. A couple of Phoenix Suns, of course, getting the most rousing roar of approval from the fans here. Charles Barkley and Dan Marley right behind him. Still to come, the low-key All-Star who doesn't crave the spotlight but still has plenty to say. Joe Dumars of the Pistons. His visit with Peter Bessie is next. Joe Dumars of the Pistons will be playing in his 5th All-Star game tonight. The Pistons are rebuilding now, but the veteran Dumars is joined by teammate Grant Hill, so there are 2 Pistons in the game. Hill is the only rookie on either squad. There are many players in tonight's game more famous than Joe Dumars. He's been a terrific player, an integral part of 2 Detroit championship teams, but in this era, when athletes look to draw attention to themselves through self-promotion, Dumars has remained low-key, classy, preferring to be involved in charitable causes which feed the hungry. His fellow All-Stars have great respect for him, as Peter Bessie found out when he spoke with the All-Stars All-Star.
Just a poor guy in rural Louisiana in a small town called Natchitoches, Louisiana. I had a backyard that was nothing but dirt with a basketball goal.
Joe, I've had a tough time finding people to say something bad about you.
Keep looking.
How is it going through life, trying to be perfect?
That would be tough if I was trying to be. I really not. I'm not trying to be. Come from good old school values, and I've been sticking with them, and they've done well by me.
You know, people were telling me the last few days that they feel sorry for you being with the Pistons. I mean, here you are, 2 championship rings, but now you're with a team that can't get out of its own way. But the fact of the matter is, you could go anywhere you wanted to if you desired. Your owner has said, hey, we'll trade you to a championship contender. But in this era of the hired gun, you decided to stay in Detroit. Why?
I just don't like the idea of myself being a hired gun. I'm one of those loyal guys through and through. I'll stick it out. And they really shouldn't feel sorry for me. These are some of the best days that I've had. The winning obviously was more enjoyable earlier in my career, but right now, these are some of the most relaxed and best days that I've had. I have a young team with me with 10 or 11 really good guys on the team, hard-working, good guys, and they understand
that we're at the bottom right now, but they're working to get out of there. And so it's a very comfortable situation for me.
We got a fist fight now.
You were the good guy on the bad boys. But it seems to me that you had to have that kind of toughness that those bad boys would accept. Your toughness evidently comes from your father. I mean, I remember you telling me when he had both legs amputated because of diabetes, you came and you saw him, he wanted you to see what it looked like, and he told you that he had everything he needed. That's the kind of toughness that you've got.
Yeah. I've never confused toughness with bad. There are a lot of guys that walk around right now with the reputation of being bad, but I really don't think they're that tough. I grew up knowing that you didn't have to be a bad character to be a tough guy. You know, I hear that term, tough love. That was my pop. I mean, he instilled that in all of us. He instilled goodness in all of us. He instilled that when you walk out of this house, you represent me, you represent your mom, you represent everything about this house. And you have to carry yourself in the right way, and any other way is just unacceptable, son.
He died before the third game of the 1990 finals. How were you able to play in Game 4?
Only from his teachings. I know if he had one statement to make to me during that whole time, he would have said, do your job. You don't make excuses, do your job. And that's what guided me through. And talking to my mother during that time, she pointed it out plain and simple. I called on the phone right after Game 3, and I said, what do you want me to do? What would your pop have told you? I said, finish. She said, well, you have to finish then. And so it was easy. It wasn't a tough decision for me at all.
Kind of carries over to the Pistons, too. You're trying to finish what you started.
Absolutely. You don't walk away from it and say, well, this is not good anymore. I have to go and find something else that's good. You don't do that. That's not the man's way to do it for me.
Joe Dumars. Now, one guy who's obviously benefited from having Dumars as his teammate is Grant Hill. The two locker next to each other, and Hannah Storm is alongside Hill. Hannah.
Thanks, Bob. Grant, it just seemed like the perfect match for you to be on a team with Joe Dumars. It was meant to be. What's he meant to you?
Well, Joe's meant a lot. Joe is Mr. Class, Mr. Professional. He's like a big brother to me. He shows me how to carry yourself both on and off the court. And I really look at it as an honor to be with Joe Dumars, and hopefully he'll stay around for a long time, and I can get the honor to play with him for many more years.
You received quite an honor being the leading vote getter, the first rookie ever to do so, and yet you said you don't feel like an all-star.
I really don't. I feel like a fan. I want to go up and get Shaq and Alonzo and Pat Ewing's autograph, and I still feel like I'm a high school kid watching the All-Star games on TV. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's just a great weekend, and hopefully it'll be a great game today.
You're nervous, aren't you?
Oh, I'm very nervous. A lot of nervous energy, but hopefully once the ball goes in the air, I'll calm down a little bit.
All right, thanks, Grant. Dick, Bob?
All right, Hannah, very likable kid, Grant Hill. But let's go back to Joe Dumars. What do you think drives him at this stage of his career?
Well, Bob, I think Joe is the type of guy who's done everything, he has everything, and as he said, he has peace of mind right now. So I think he's driven just by his professionalism. He wants to represent that he's a consummate professional. He knows that there are a lot of young players who are looking at him, and they're looking at his behavior, and they're looking at his example on the court, and that is a challenge for him. So I think that's what's driving him right now.
And we are driven by the clock, and it says it's time for us to step aside and meet the players for the 45th NBA All-Star Game. Marv Alberts, Matt Gukas, and the snapper Steve Jones will call it. We'll see you at halftime. The NBA on NBC continues after these messages from your local station. Enjoy it, everybody.